how could you, at the end of the shift, you've done 12 hours, 13 deaths. So if it was 50-50, you have been working a shift where there was after 13, 6 children. I mean, what do you think about how your partner, when you look in the mirror, you think, how can this happen? How can I be part of this? How can that was phenomenal. So that became my passion. And at the same time that was happening, one about the details of important that in Waterloo, Ontario, roughly the same time, I probably heard about this, but it's amazing how many people have it. There were 86 stillbirths over a 6-month period in an average size, probably smaller than mine state where I practice, number of stillbirths. That was an 800% increase. Again, the, the reason why this was the cause célèbre was because it was a percentage increase that occurred over a 6-month period. And the whistleblower had informed a lawyer who was a legal assistant prosecutor. So she had really checked the details, and the whistleblower had done her thing. And it, that was astounding because at the same time that that news came out, Bonnie Henry and Coastal Health said everything I talked about was a hoax. It would never did occur. And, you know, when you follow this through, none of it makes any sense. The other thing that is tragic about the Waterloo case was this came out, and it's basically non-news. It's known about, there was no investigation. I mean, normally in this situation, if you have 2 stores, they are immediately going to check everything possible. Is it the water? Is it the time?
You and your other doctor and started trying to take this and have an investigation done into all of this, right?
And so I got to wrap this part up. Uh, at this point, well, I'm just going to fill in funny details about the the world experience. This has not been suppressed. It's, but you got to follow the right sources of information. It'll never come out with regular social media. But the U.S. Army noted that, and their stats are very precise and exact, and they had a 300% increase in stillbirths in female uh, soldiers. Now, those women are traumatized and they're exposed to radiation and blah, 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 but still 300%. They have started investigations. Scotland um, announced, and again, if you get on this page and start following this, Scotland announced that they had, again, a tremendous increase in stillbirths, and they immediately started an investigation. What are we doing?
Exactly.
The last point on that, somebody came up to me speaking like this. I'm not going to tell you their stories. And foremost, a woman told me that there'd been a huge increase in stillbirths in Calgary. So,
So here we are in Canada, and you know, I'll be here 33 years this month, and we came here with a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old daughters to give them a better future. And now we're here fighting that our grandchildren, our 4 grandchildren, will have a better future. And so I have East Indian friends and professionals who found it very hard to conceive, and they ended up just before the first lockdown going to India for fertility treatments because it was cheaper there. To make a long story short, she did get stuck there longer than she should have, and I do think it was the grace of God. because in India, she was told, no, 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 it's not safe for you to take these vaccines to get back to Canada. It is not safe for your babies. And now she was carrying twins before she came back. But when she came back to Alberta, she was, oh, no, 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 the vaccination would be very good for your babies. So go figure. So this is a very heavy subject, I know, and very hard one to carry. And there's a lot of stuff going on in every level of society, every mountain of our environment it just seems to be rotten to the core. And so I'm just going to give this back to Sean now. And you wanted to say some more there. We're going to have Carrie. Carrie, you want to speak? So, yeah, I'm going to have friend Carrie come up here and speak to you. Thanks very much, Dr. If anybody wants to come and speak to Dr. Mel here, he would like to offer that as well if you want to come speak to me, be up here while other people are speaking right now.
So give Mel a round of applause, you guys. It's the doctors that are seeming retired. We're hearing from retired doctors that can stick it all on the line because they don't practice medicine anymore. And they're the ones speaking up, and they've got a lot of experience. You can't discount 52 years in the medical profession and ignore it. And he's not the only one. There's plenty of them out there, but they're being silenced. And we got to give them the opportunity to come up here and tell these stories so you can start asking questions. At the end of the day, we're all here for one thing. What is it?
Freedom!
It's freedom to choose. Freedom to make decisions for yourself, your family, your body, your kids' education, where you travel. It's your freedom. It's your freedom to demand that you actually get all the information when you go to the doctor. Not the stuff the College of Physicians and Surgeons is telling the doctor he's allowed to tell you. I would have liked to have known before some of my family got vaccinated. I would have liked to have had them be told. There's 1,200 plus different ailments that you could possibly come down with if you get the vaccine. And let the people make the choice at that point. If they choose to get it because they're in a certain age bracket and they're at risk, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, it's freedom to choose. And it's freedom to choose to get the vaccine if you're in an age bracket that is susceptible, or it's freedom to not choose. And that's what we want. If you want to wear a mask, freedom to choose to wear a mask. The only thing the government's done in 2 solid years that's actually been effective from their point of view is to scare the shit out of everybody. So they're all wearing masks. So with that said, I want everybody to make sure that people's choice to wear a mask, it's important. If they feel that that's given them some security, even though you may internally think it's wrong, it's their choice. It's very important that they get to choose when they are ready to take the mask off. Do we all agree with that? It's important because we want people that still want to wear the mask. We want them to be side by side with us in this crowd asking for their freedom, just like we are. It's important.
You know, I think that a lot of establishments right now are showing their colors. You're either on the dark side or the light side. And when the mask law got lifted on the first, I went into Starbucks, and I had said to a girl that recognized me there, I hadn't been in there for 2 years, and I said, you must be so glad, I said to me, you're going to have that mask off on the first. And she said, oh no, Deborah, our boss tells us we're not lifting the mask in here. So now, where is the freedom there? Where is the freedom? Where is the freedom of choice? So when the mask bylaw was brought in, those of us who could not or did not want to wear it were just being pointed at and told we weren't complying and we were being mean and we're being nasty. Now we're being told, oh, be nice. Well, yes, be nice. If somebody wants to wear the mask because they want to, bless you, that is your choice. That's what we want is freedom. So then they go to other places and you go over into Shoppers Drug Mart. And so I was in there the other day and I was at the cosmetic counter and I said to the girl, do you mind me asking you, are you wearing the mask because you want to or because you have to?
Because I looked around and everybody in there was wearing a mask. And she said, oh, she said, I'm so mad. She says, we still have to wear it. So when I leaned in to say to her, you know, you do have a choice, I immediately saw a bit of fidgeting. And so I can understand it. If she speaks up, she's probably going to lose her job and probably needs to pay her utilities or whatever her expenses are. But I think what I want to say to you, if you know people in these situations, in jobs, they need to rally with their co-workers. They need to gather the support from their co-workers and say, no, you are violating my rights and my freedoms. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms trumps all these tyrants' mandates. And if we don't stand up and say no, every one of us that will not say no because we do not want conflict. I would sooner be down the river living my quiet life and all of that, but I'll tell you what, I've seen my four grandchildren's faces, and I am going to do whatever the Lord God gives me the strength to do, to stand up and call it what it is. And that's what we all have to do. So, if you want to know what am I entitled to say no to and what can I have to say yes to, just think about it. If it's yes, if it is violating any of your freedoms under the Charter of Rights, then you just say no. You do not have to get into a debate with these people. You do not have to say, you know what, I just don't want to. No, you don't get into any arguments with them whatsoever. Your answer is no. Let your no be no and your yes be yes, and you do not have to give an explanation for that. Okay, the time is up for Sean, you want to share something there?
Freedom. Even add one on the book.
We're going to bring a local Cochrane up here. We're going to bring up Ron Voss. Some of you may know him. He has a newsletter and a blog that is called Dog with a Bone. So Ron puts out his opinion on a lot of various subjects. And everybody probably has a similar opinion, and you can get together and connect. And I'd like to bring Ron up to say a few words.
Ron, you introduced me as Ross. I can't tell you how many emails I get like that. I'd be a millionaire if I had $1 for every time they called me Ross. You just gotta bring the two together. Anyway, so what's Dog with a Bone? Well, one way I can tell you about it is what's the mission. The mission is to provide an alternative to the government subsidized media, and most importantly, it's to expose the influence of the corrupt, dysfunctional United Nations and global elites. Expose their influence not on Calgary, not on Ottawa, but on Cochrane. You've probably heard the expression, think global, act local. And that's an approach used by those wishing to advance their globalist objectives, such as Agenda 2030, with its sustainable development goals, as well as reducing the amount of carbon dioxide, fighting climate change. Those are the things that they push through the objective of think global, act local. Well, I've started to discover that you can't really do much or influence much in Ottawa. I elect my MP, he's there for 4 years, can't do diddly squat. But here, you can't do much in Edmonton. But where we are here, living in Cochrane, we can make quite a difference. And what we would do is, we're going to counter the global, think global, act local notion with act local, resist global. And I don't want you to think that the attitude of think global, act local only happens in Calgary and Edmonton. It happens in every little village, every little town in this province. In January 11th, in last year, I made an appearance before the Cochrane Town Council as a delegation, and I was expressing my concerns about the town's participation in and support with the Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board, CMRB. Anybody here been here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was introduced by Rachel Knotley and the NDP, and it creates a collective. And it encompasses Calgary and 6 other urban communities, including Cochrane, and 3 rural communities, including Rockingham County. The in that arrangement, Calgary has a dominant role and influence because it has a veto because of its size. But there's one very concerning aspect of Calgary having that influence. Calgary is a member of local governments for sustainability. And it was formerly known as ICLEI, or International Council for, catch this word, Local Environmental Initiatives. As an immediate member of that organization, Calgary is expected to be, and I'm going to quote here, a driving force for delivering on the global sustainable development agenda. You think they're not going to be a driving force within the CMRB when they have that veto? And witness recently when they elected this mayor, Blondek, what's the first thing she did? She said we're going to declare there's a climate emergency. Man, it's cold out here today. With that presentation, Dog with a Bone was born. We created a website, very simple, dogwithabone.org. So, if you're interested, it's a blog site where you can find out a lot about what's happening in Cochrane related to that mission statement. And if you go there, you just sign up, and you'll be sent a notice whenever there's a new blog. And I want to tell you, you're not going to be overwhelmed with emails. My last blog was out in February 7th, and it was about this particular rally, the first rally we ever had. So, and also, if you want to, I have some cards back here, my beautiful wife at the table. You can pick up a card. If you can't remember, dogwiththebone.org. That's a good idea. Okay, so a key ingredient for the Act Local, Resist Global campaign to be successful, there's a word that comes to mind. And are you ready? I'm gonna say a word, and I want you all to shout it out. Are you ready?
Yep.
Together!
Together!
Thank you, and God bless.
September before Ron did that presentation, and I heard someone say that our town council and mayor were going to bring in a bylaw mandate for that, and I thought, what the heck is that? And that's where I started sitting in on every town council meeting, and I heard after a presentation, we accept your presentation as information. Well, that was the first time I heard that. Well, the second time I heard it was on the 11th of January after Dr. Ron Voss gave his presentation about the Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board. And I came out from that meeting and I said to my husband, do you know about this? And he says, yeah, I do. I said, why the hell didn't you tell me? And he said, you don't like politics. So I said, I well do now. This is affecting our town. And so I looked up Ron Voss and I heard about dogwithabone.org. When his friend told me how dogwithabone.org came about, he said, so Ron was living about all the stuff that's going on under the radar. We don't know anything about it, it's just going on. And his friend said to him, you're like a dog with a bone. He said, that's it. That's what I'm going to call it, dogwithabone.org. So Ron Voss has been an amazing influence in my life. And he has educated me so much about what is going on globally and federally and provincially. And I got a fire in my belly from these meetings. And that was where I started. And I have not stopped since. And so I tell you that Ron said you will not be inundated with emails, but you will be very well informed. And I can tell you, any article that he brings out, I have watched it now the whole time since he started. Every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and it's factual. It is factual. And so go to your archives and you will see what has been going on in the town and some of that is going on in
One of the things I just want to say is that, how did we get here? How do we get our freedom back? But most importantly, you can't know where you're going to go until you know how you got there. And I just want to give you my opinion here. I talk to my wife, I talk to my friends, and they go to the polls every time the election happens in municipal, provincial, or federal. And it's very important. I can't stress this enough. We have the freedom to choose who we vote for in this country. You must be engaged and find out who is on the ballot, not just go to the ballot and vote for the person that represents the party that you've always just checked the box on. It's very important because you need to find out who that person is. Research them. What's their background? What's their job experience? How smart are they? I don't go to the guy that filed for bankruptcy 47 times to get financial advice. I don't go to the guy that's not a car mechanic to fix my car. So we need to make sure we get smart. From this point forward, no matter what election, I need everybody to make sure, look at all the candidates. Not just the one that you know you probably are going to vote for. Look at all the rest. And I would stress everybody out there, consider independence. Independent people that are going to stand up and run on their own name. Because at the end of the day, if you can't stand there and run on your own name and your own experience, and you need a party to prop you up, how much value are you actually bringing? I want to know who I'm voting for, their experience, and why they're going to be better than all of the crap that we've had. Because at the end of the day, all the policies that the federal government is putting down within oil and gas and the climate and everything else is causing us great financial pain and hardship. I don't want to see this anymore for any of us. So let's get smart. Let's start researching these candidates at every level, whether it's the Cochrane Council, the province, or the federal government. Because we're going to start having elections soon. And the nicest thing here, the most positive thing is that Christine Elliott, who's the MP or the Deputy Premier of Ontario, has just basically resigned. She's the Minister of Health in Ontario. This is big news. Because this comes on the day after the treasure trove of documents from the FDA were released. I think she has a guilty conscience. I think that she realizes, oh my God, I have been pushing this vaccine for a better part of a year and a half or longer, and people have taken it. And there's risk. That's not what she signed up for, I bet. She's probably thinking, I'm going to be culpable. I'm going to have to be accountable. I could go to jail. Like this could happen to some people. It could. I hope that they're accountable.
It will.
And everybody needs to demand accountability as these documents come out. Email the PDF. This is not fake news. This is PDF documents from the FDA. So let's get this out to people, share it around, and you don't even have to say anything other than, hey, don't you find this interesting? 1,200 and something side effects. We haven't been talking about this. That's how you tell people. Get them to start thinking critically. With that said, I'm going to bring up another guest speaker here today. Her name's Carrie. Her husband's a firefighter. He spoke on the first day we were here. He chose to make a choice that was right for him and his family, and he did get the vaccine. And the firefighters, well, actually, he was laid off. Do you remember that gentleman? This is her husband, or her. This is his wife coming up to say a few words.
How many know that when our eyes were open, we enlisted ourselves in a war, in an army, right? Well, the good news is it is just begun. I was thinking about what was on my heart to share today. My name is Carrie Andrews. So, yes, you heard my husband, Michael, he had to step down as a Calgary firefighter because he would not comply with the tyrannical band-aids that they put upon the city workers.
God bless them, hold the line!
I am a mom, a wife, and a grandmother, and I care about the future of my grandchildren. And like all the grandmas here, and moms. And are we going to look back and say, can we look into their eyes and say, well, I just want to get back to normal. I want to go trip. I want to go somewhere warm. I want to go in the restaurants. You know, and the thing is this is far from over. When we have political prisoners in our provinces and in our nation that are paying the price for the freedom that we get a little taste of again. And I'm telling you, I am not going to celebrate something that belongs to us. They took it away. It already belonged to us, and you know what? It's ours. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. So what I would like to say today is just a funny little story. Um, my daughter's my daughter's car broke down, so we knowing the people that we know, we had a car trailer. We went picked it up, brought it. We're bringing it over to the shop, right? So my husband. So we get the whole family out there, and we got to push this 2002 Honda Accord up into the trailer, and and so we got to go up a little ramp, a little hump, right? So we get back, and then we give it the momentum, right? And we get it, and no, it's not going. So then my husband goes up a little further and put the steered inch there, and me and my daughter were holding the line, and it was scary because like, oh God, if this goes wrong, grandma will be under the car. So, anyways, the momentum. We have momentum here. And they can call us a small fringe minority if they want. I would like to say a remnant, those that are awake. We cannot fall asleep. We are not going back to normal because our eyes are open. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, there's no going back. And there's nothing that is worth more than the freedom of our children and our grandchildren.
Yeah.
And for those that, I really believe with my whole heart that we are seeing a changing of the guard. We are seeing structures of men fall. We are seeing things exposed. I would say both in the political system, but also in the religious system. And what is happening? It is like there is a cross section. There is a changing of a revolution of the people rising up, but also a revival of the hearts of men. And what we're going to see happen, this is just the beginning. So we have to hold the line. And for those that are sitting in prison today, we cannot. You know what? And until they're free, we keep fighting.
Right.
And evil doesn't stop. It must stop. So I just want to encourage you. This is a movement. This is just the beginning. This is where our family is. This is where like minds and hearts gather. Keep coming out. Keep bringing the people. Keep bringing your family and your friends. And, we just have to keep the faith. We have to keep fighting the good fight.
I'm looking at the sign over here that this young girl has. I hope you don't mind me. My parents will not co-parent with the government. Very, very good. Very good. Now, as Ron Voss said earlier, I want to say and remind you, know what's happening locally. Put a firewall over our community. We had a chain on the highway yesterday, which was fantastic. It was so inspirational. It was just, oh my God, the energy there was just lovely, and having like-minded people. And I say, put a firewall over our community here. Now, when we have a strong core of people here in Cochrane, and we know what's happening to our mayor and our council, and that our CEO, Mike Derricott, thinks he's the head of the town and he's running it, we need to put him in his place, and we need to know that our mayor is the one we elected, and our councillors are the ones that are supposed to be running the town for the people, right?
Yeah.
Not for themselves, not for the United Nations, which is we have all the lingo of the United Nations in our own town. And so whether or not you want to know it, that's what's happening. And so let's start being a strong core group where we are all connected and we know how to address our local government. And start right here and let it propel from there. Or Sean, we're next over. Oh, sorry. And so Marilla, a gal that's been here helping us all the time through the rallies here, had an incident this week when her 10-year-old daughter went back to school now that the masks were lifted, but to discover that there's stuff going on under the radar in the schools as well. And so Carla is going to speak on behalf of Marilla right now. Marilla just wants to send one message to you.
Hi everyone. I'm here for the voices of our children. I think I started speaking about this with the day Nadine Wellwood spoke with the PCC. The great Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn said the great words is local action will take national impact. We need to all take action. Yes. So, how many of you here have kids in school or grandkids in school? That's a lot of you. What I need you guys all to do is please go and check their curriculum. Check what they're learning. Ask questions. Ask questions. If you see something, say something, which means call the principal. Make a meeting with the teacher. Make a meeting with the principal and call them out on this curriculum. A pilot program just went in one of the schools this week, Elizabeth Barrett. That's what Morella's 11-year-old was learning. Something just completely inappropriate. It needs to be called out. The only way we can expose this corruption is to call it out. It's not an easy job to pick up the phone and talk to principals and teachers, but it works. We have to put pressure on the system. We have to put pressure on the trustees, Rocky View County, Calgary Catholic School Board. It has to be heard because the teachers, I will tell you, I know a few of them, they are having a difficult time getting this out. What a lot of them do is pick proper curriculum, proper books to read, and they teach the kids the right thing. But I can tell you this, when they go speak out, they get sent to bad schools, bad school districts. It's not good. So they don't speak out. So we have to be the voices of our children. I know a lot of people did homeschooling, and that's great. But to get this system to fall, we have to get people to call it out because this curriculum coming from the NDP is in our schools. It teaches them garbage. It teaches them inappropriate sexual.
A message from Marilla, who has been an advocate for the parents. And the one thing she wants is that we check out what her 10-year-olds are learning in school in Salvador. And she and her husband had a 2-hour conversation with the principal, and it seems like the teacher gets away with it because the principal approved of it, but it's something that the parents should have been notified about before they put it in. Then they expect that 25% of these kids, I mean, can a 10-year-old give a rating on these topics? It is just ridiculous. And if they get 25% of a rating from these children, then that book is in. And it's not, you can't discuss it where you've got children. So let me put it to you that way. Okay, thank you.
So I think we're ready to go for a walk. Who's ready to go for a freedom walk? So today, one thing we're going to do is we're going to go the same route. Is that right, Tammy? The same route, but I want to make sure that when we get out onto the 1A, we're going to have a couple people block the traffic, and we want to stay in the lane that's heading east. Let's not kind of cause any havoc with the cars going westbound. Let's get their support. Let's get them all honking. Right? The whole plan is to wake the world up, to wake Cochrane up. So we don't want to be walking down alleys. We want to go out on the 1A. Who's with me? All right, so let's do this safe. Okay, we're going to start the music. Let's go. And by the way, everybody, next week, if we want to grow this, see if we can and bring one more person who isn't here today. This is very important. As we grow this, and they see us walking the highway, they're going to be encouraged to come out with their Canadian flags and show their spirit.